don't ever talk about that. Like, you told me, okay, don't ever mention that. You take that to the grave. Just what I was going through, and it wasn't as light and as happy and rainbows and butterflies as it sounds.
We're
right
talking
now.
right
No,
now.
no. It was heavy. I had always wanted to write, but I was like, well, what are you gonna write? And I started to notice that like a lot of my sadness, a lot of my anger, a lot of my shame came from this secret. And all I had was my journal. Like, that's where I just poured my heart and my pain. Like, it just went into my journal. And I started to see there was a story there. My one-woman show, From Lap Dance to Sundance.
The Artist Square brings the most ballsy artists and creatives that not only question the world they live in, but dare to cross borders and make a difference through art. If you're looking for inspiration, knowledge, or simply connect with your favorite artist, we want this to be the space for you. I'm Alejandra Camacho, and want to welcome you to one more episode of The Artist Square.
Corina Calderon, I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm so happy. So how does your family call you? Cori, Corina?
Mainly Cori.
Cori? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I always want to tell you, like, Corina. But then I'm like, Corina.
Either one.
Right.
Family and really close friends, it's Cori.
Cori?
Yeah, mainly family.
It sounds cute. Like, very cute.
Cori.
Cori.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm like so blown away by your credits and everything, but I just want to introduce to the people who don't know you. You're an actor, you are a producer and a writer. You were in 2012, you worked with Jake Gyllenhaal, right? In the movie.
It was in, End of Watch came out in 2013.
2013. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And Michael Peña.
Mm-hmm.
And
David
then,
Ayer film.
Yeah, oh wow. And then All She Can, that was
Sundance.
in Sundance.
Mm-hmm.
And you were also nominated as a best breakthrough actor. Wow. For the people who don't know what Sundance is, it's one of the largest, if not the largest, international film festival in the United States. Mm-hmm. Films that are nominated here get to go to the Oscars. Yeah, it's very important. And then you worked with, you were also nominated along with Eva Longoria, Gina Rodriguez, for the same movie, All She Can.
Yeah. It was Gina Rodriguez, Eva Longoria, Eva Mendes, and me.
Yeah.
For an Imagen Award, yeah.
That's amazing. And you wrote Situationship.
Yeah.
That it was one of your most recent short films. Mm-hmm. It won for Best Screenplay.
Yeah.
And you wrote From Lap Dance to Sundance. It was a one-woman show. I saw that show. And again, it blew me away. Mm-hmm. Because also for the people who don't know what a one-man show or one-woman show is a solo show that is performed by one actor narrator. It carries like a whole story on this actor. They don't rely on anybody else but themselves, and they do monologues, dance, improv, stand-up comedy. Yeah, and what I loved about it is that you gave a lot of value to something that I heard somebody told you to not talk about lap dance, right? And to hide it, and you embraced it. Yeah, about being a stripper. And you took value and embraced it. For me, it was like a lot of light, a lot of value, and a lot of inspiration. I want to say, yeah, thank you for having like the creativity to put a one-woman show based on this. I was like amazed. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, first of all, where are you from?
I'm from Moline, Illinois. I was born in Moline, Illinois. My family is originally from Texas.
Okay.
More South Texas. My mom's parents are from Crystal City, Texas. So they were migrant workers. Because a lot of people are like, how did your family end up in, Illinois? So my mom's parents were migrant workers. And they went to Illinois to work. They went there to work. And that's where they started their family, my mom and her siblings, and then the grandchildren. That's where I came along. And then my mom and my sisters and I lived there till I was 10. And then we followed my grandparents back to Texas because my grandparents, once they retired, they went back home to Texas to live after they retired. So when I was 10, we followed them to Texas. And we lived in San Marcos for a year. And then so when we first moved to Texas, we followed them to Uvalde. So
Okay.
we lived in Uvalde. I was there for 6th grade.
Okay.
We moved around a lot with my mom, single mother. We went to Uvalde, and then we ended up in San Marcos for a year, and then Austin. And that's where I went to finished off middle school, high school, and some college. And that's where I started dancing. And then I lived there till I was 28. I moved to LA when I was 28.
Okay. You started dancing the ballet folklorico.
When I was 4. My grandma had a little group.
And so your mom was a dancer. Sorry, your grandma.
Grandma. My
And-
grandparents were dancers. They used to enter contests back in the day where they would tape numbers on your back. And they would win contests. And my grandparents were dancers.
What kind of dance?
A lot of cumbia tejano.
I love cumbia.
Yeah.
So when did it all, like this acting,
The
get
acting
into
come up.
you?
I always wanted to be an actor. Since I was a little girl. I remember I was like 4 years old when I wanted to be like, dance was like that was like my beginning. Like that was my way into like just expressing myself, I guess. I always wanted to be in the movies since I was a little girl. But dancing dancing and music has always been such a big part of my family. My dad was in a band growing up, in a Tejano band, a cover band. So we grew up in a dance hall. So dancing was life, like every weekend, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sundays, even sometimes like maybe Wednesdays or Thursdays, depending on like if there was a boda, wedding, or a quinceañera or whatever. We would be in the salon and where my dad was playing. So dancing, I came out of the womb dancing cumbia.
I bet.
So yeah, it was dancing first, but acting, I've always wanted to be an actor. Was my first love. Like I wanted to act, but I never knew how to get it. Like I always thought that was part of like another world. Like there was like a group of special people that were actors, or they knew someone, or they came from families that were actors. And then the older I got, the more I started to learn, I was like, I can do this too. And it was actually in 7th grade when I first started acting in like the drama group, like theater there, and just putting on like little sketches, little skits. And then that got put onto the back burner because I was a teenager and I was too busy getting in trouble and focus on boys and stuff like that. And I just, like I said, like it was always a dream, but it just seems so like impossible. And then we moved to Austin, and it was still there in my heart. I wanted to act. I was like, how do I become, I don't know I want to be an actor. I'm going to be an actor. How do I start? So life happened. Life kept going. And my mom remarried, and in little subtle ways, her and my stepdad let me and my sisters know, you guys got to go. So just trying to find a way to survive and to continue paying for my acting classes and headshots, which are expensive. I met a girl who was a dancer who lived across the parking lot at the apartments where we lived.
Okay.
And I just remember talking to her, and she was really beautiful. She was like this really tall, gorgeous, like Black woman. And she was always dressed really sexy. And I was always like, oh, what is this woman? Who is, like, she's beautiful. Like, what is this? And she just befriended me. I was a young girl. She was probably in her 20s, and I was about 18, 19.
Okay.
And we started talking. And she started telling me, you're beautiful, like you could make money. And I was like, okay, I want to make money, because I needed to get out as well. And I had jobs like at Wet Seal and like stores at the mall and stuff. And I wasn't making a lot. So she was like, come to the club with me. And I was like, okay, the club. Okay. And I went. That night I went with her. It was a club in Austin, Texas. It's Round Rock. It was like right north of Austin, right outside of Austin.
Okay.
The club at the time was called Perfect 10 Strip Club. And I went and I tried it. And I was like, I was so scared. I was like, oh, I'll never do this. I'll never be back. I can't, this isn't for me. Like, oh my God, what would my grandparents say if they found out? Like, what if my family finds out? I was ashamed. I was like, I'll never come back. But then life continued to happen, and it was in the back of my mind. And then one of my best friends, I told her about it, and she's like, I want to go. And I was like, girl, no. She's like, I'll go with you. And I was like, all right, let's go. Like, let's try this again, because I had heard and seen all the money you can make. So we went back. This time I had a little partner, and that was it. Like, after the second time I went back, the money that I made, I was like, oh, I could do this. The very first night I worked, I made $685 in just a couple hours.
Like dancing. A couple hours. That's crazy.
That was my first
2
night.
hours. Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, the money I took home, I was like, I've never made this much money so quickly. Like, all this cash, like, I like it. So that was it.
Did you learn how to dance in that place? Because you already brought like a lot of experience.
No, I didn't learn how to
your
dance. I've always been a dancer.
Okay. No, but I mean like lap dancing, because I know it's different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So your question was how did I start acting? And then that's how I got into the strip club.
Yeah.
So at the strip club of all places is where I met the girl who, because like I told you, like I always wanted to be an actor, but I felt lost. I didn't know where to start. Like, how do you become an actor? Like, how do you get into the movies? At the strip club, I met a girl who was taking acting classes. And I remember one night I was sitting with the customer. I was young, naive. And she came and sat with us. And I was telling her that I was saving money to come to Hollywood because I wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I'm an actor. I take acting classes. I was like, you take acting classes? Like, I've always wanted to take an acting class. How do I do that? Like, how do I get into that acting class? She gave me the contact info for that teacher. That teacher introduced me to my first agent. That agent got me the audition for Benavides Born, All She Can, my Sundance movie. So it all just kind of kept that desire alive. Like, just kept, like, I'm gonna do this. I don't know how, but I'm gonna do this. And it happened at the freaking strip club of all places.
Yeah, it's very interesting how, because it's very easy to get derailed, like once you start in one place, the dreams just like go to the side.
Life happens. And you gotta survive,
and that's it. But no, like, it really did for you. Like, that's so great. So yeah, I was saying, so you get to Sundance, you got nominated and everything, and from there,
I was one of the breakthrough actresses that year.
It was 2011. Yeah, and then what happens after that?
So I was still in Austin before we got the news that we got into Sundance. But again, just trusting. There was something in my heart. There was something that was like, you just wrapped this film. It's going to be great. Even I had heard from a manager who was like, do you know how many films that are made that never see the light of day? Like, I would hear that. Like,
who told you that?
A manager that I had met here in LA that I was trying to sign with. And I had no resume. I had never really done anything. Yeah. But I had this film. And I remember I told him that, I don't have a reel. I really don't have, any material to show you. And but I was like, but I did this film, and we just wrapped. It's going to be really good. This is before I knew about Sundance. Okay. And that's when he told me, well, do you know how many films are made that never see the light of day? Like, that doesn't really mean anything just because you did this independent film. Yeah. So what? Like, there's a lot of independent films. That doesn't mean anything. Like, you have nothing to prove that you can act. So that was hard to hear, but I've always been like that. Like, you're not going to tell me what I'm capable of. Like, you're not going to tell me. You're not going to change the vision that I have. Being terca, being stubborn, like, no, I know, like I know. I was like, all right, whatever. On to the next. So I just kept going, believing, and I was still in Austin because I had came to LA because I knew another actress here, and I came to visit her, and I was already trying to take meetings because I was like, no, this is going to be a good film. This is going to do. I didn't even know about Sundance. Let me tell you, like, when we found out that it got into Sundance, I had to research what Sundance was. Everyone was so excited that we got into Sundance, but being so young and naive and just like, I just want to act. When we found out that we got into Sundance, I didn't really know what the festival was about. I just knew everyone was so excited.
Yeah, I mean.
So I was like, oh, yeah, we got into Sundance. So when I was still in Austin, it wrapped. Like I said, I just had this feeling like now's the time to go, because I had even heard from my agents over there, because I had already wanted to come here, and they were like, just wait, like, build up a resume. Like, you're going to go over there with nothing. It's difficult. Like, it's like a bigger body. Like, it's like there's so many people out there. Like, there's so much more competition, and they're like, just get something started here in Austin. You got so much support. You got a community. Like, get some stuff here first. So I was like, okay. So as soon as we wrapped, I was like, now's my time. I was like, this is what they've been talking about. Okay, now I have this whole movie, And so when we wrapped, I was like, I'm going to do it. I let go of my apartment that I had. I had a little Mazda 6, a little 2005 Mazda 6. I filled it with whatever I could. Knew a mutual friend of a friend here, and packed whatever fit in my Mazda. Drove here by myself and just started all over again. But as soon as I got here, I got here late 2010. So like a couple months after I got here is when the producer of All She Can had hit me up and told me we got into Sundance.
So how long did you work at this place, at this strip club before that?
Ooh, I was there 7 years off and on. I went from being a waitress to a dancer, I was there for a minute.
Okay, and then after you started working in this place, when did you start taking acting classes? Like right away, or just? Okay.
That's how. Yeah, right away. I met that girl. Like not like the night, but like a few months after being there, because I knew I was there.
Yeah.
Like I was there because I was like, I have to make money, not only because I need to get out of my mom and stepdad's apartment, but because I want to afford these classes and headshots and workshops and coaching, and it's a lot of money. So working at a little store in the mall was not cutting it. I mean, not even to survive, let alone pay for all these expenses. So I started working there, and I would talk about it openly. Like I remember I had a customer that would come in, and he would be like, I've had a lot of customers that would tell me, like, what are you doing here? You don't look like someone who would work here. You don't seem like someone who would work here. Like, I got that a lot because I was very professional. And the reason I can talk about it like I do now with so much pride is because I was a dancer. I've always been a dancer. So even when I was in the club, I was a dancer. I was just an exotic dancer. I've always been a dancer since I was 4, from ballet folklorico, cumbia, tejano, to the strip club. It was my love for dancing. It was another opportunity to perform in front of people, even if it was in a thong and heels. I was dancing and I was raised right. I was raised mainly by my grandparents. So although I knew they wouldn't have been the proudest that I was there, I still remember them, and I had respect for them, and for how I was brought up. So even in the club, the reason I can talk about it with so much pride now and write about it and put up shows about it is because I never lost my respect. I never lost my dignity. Like, I never lost who I was and why I was there. Yeah. So I was, even there, I was professional. I was a dancer. And I remember one customer, was plenty of them, but one customer told me one time when we were talking, he was like, you're going to do well. He was like, Renee Zellweger? And I was like, yeah. He's like, she used to dance for me when she was going to UT. She worked at Sugar's and Yellow Rose, 2 really popular clubs in Austin where I danced too. And they would tell me that they used to call her Kelly Bundy back like in the 80s or 90s because she had bleached blonde hair like Kelly Bundy from Married with Children. And they're like, yeah, she worked here too. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, I mean, that's how I started to pay for stuff, and I started taking my classes. I could afford them now. More than afford them. I was making a lot of money.
So so you got the agent in Texas.
I had my agent
in Texas.
Then I came here and got a new one.
Look how it just develops. It's just because it's not that easy to just like, oh yeah, start acting class and suddenly agent. No, like it takes a while.
Yeah.
So you got your agent, you got that opportunity, you got the movie, and then that's when you come to LA to like trying to see what you start like getting a manager, I think you say. And then, okay, you went back to Texas?
No.
Or you just
I've been here
moved
14 years.
Got it. Wow. Corina Calderon. Okay, so I wanna jump to from lap dance to Sundance, because that's the last project. I mean, the only project that I've seen from you. But I know after that you did the play based on that story too. But tell us a little bit about how did you decide to write from lap dance to Sundance? What is it about, first of all?
It's about my journey from lap dance to then Sundance. That's what it is. How did I decide to write that? I never decided to write that. That was something I was going to take to the grave. I was never going to talk about being a dancer. My first acting teacher in Austin, when I told her how I was paying for my classes and how I was working so much and just what I was going through, and it wasn't as light and as happy and rainbows and butterflies as it sounds.
We're talking right now.
No. It was heavy. When I told her about what was happening and what was going on, about this roller coaster ride that I was living in my life, from like living a secret life of like being an actor and then going to work at night, when I told her, she was like, you can never talk about that. Don't ever talk about that. Don't ever tell anybody about that. People are going to judge you. Like you just don't need that. You don't need for people to know about that. Like it will be difficult for you. People are going to judge you. They're going to think you're a certain way. You just don't ever talk about that. Like you told me, okay, don't ever mention that. You take that to the grave. So then that was even a heavier burden, because I was already feeling kind of like, a little bit of shame because I was a stripper. And then for my acting teacher to confirm like, hey, you shouldn't talk about this. But that's how I was paying for acting classes. It was something I was never going to talk about. For years I hid it. I mean, I was so paranoid so many times. I mean, I would be on set, and if anybody said anything about a stripper or a pole or anything like that, I'd be like, how do they know? Yeah. Is that directed towards me? Like, how do they know? And it was tough. It was very heavy. It affected me a lot. Being paranoid and self-conscious and just like insecure about like if they find out how I got here, they're gonna see like I'm just like this phony, like this girl who had to strip to just get on a movie, or you know what I mean? Like just to like be here. So that was really heavy for many years. And then I met a girl. So I'm also Buddhist. So I met this girl while I was at the Buddhist center that I go to. And again, I had always wanted to write. But I was like, well, what are you going to write? I wanted to write, but I just didn't know what are you going to write? Like, but I knew I wanted to write something. And so that was always in the back of my mind. Like I was always just like keeping my heart on that, not knowing how, but like just knowing like this is something I want to do. I don't know how, but this is something I want to do one day. And so I was in a meeting. I was at the center one day, and this woman that was sitting next to me, when we were introducing ourselves that day, she was just like, yes, I direct and coach and mentor writers. And I help them with their one-person shows, and I have a writing class. And I was like, oh, you have a writing class? She's like, yeah, you should come check it out. I went to check it out. In that class, she would just give us writing prompts. So I started journaling a lot, just about everything, like just life. She would give us prompts. I would write just based on whatever prompts she would give us that day. And I started to notice that like a lot of my sadness, a lot of my anger, a lot of my shame came from this secret that on top of like family drama, but like it came from like this secret of not being able to be completely, fully and honest and authentic to who I am and where I came from and what I've done to enable me to do what I loved, which was acting and writing, and to be in these classes and to be amongst these people that were doing what I loved as well. Like there was always this heavy weight of like shame. So I started to write it, and I started to see like it was all about the club, and how it was shameful, and how I hid it from my family, and how like my relationship with my family was affected because like all these secrets that I had, the secret that I had. So I just started to notice like this is the story that needs to be told. Oh my God. And then my grandfather gets cancer, and it's terminal.
Okay.
So that's another weight and just heartache. And then the relationship that I was in at the time started to get really bad. Like this man that I was with, we were in a relationship. I thought I was going to marry this man. It ended very ugly. And so that was another weight. So again, giving me more to write about, right? So at like literally my lowest, I was losing my grandfather. I was losing my relationship. I felt lost. Wasn't really booking anything. It was just like a shitty, like one would think a shitty time in my life, like just heavy. And all I had was my journal. Like that's where I just poured my heart and my pain. Like it just went into my journal. And I started to see there was a story there. So I started working with her, Jessica Johnson, my first director and creator, co-creator of my one-woman show From Lap Dance to Sundance.
This is the same woman that
Buddhist.
you met in the Buddhist center. Okay.
So I just started taking her classes. Then I started getting one-on-ones with her. And my show was created, like from just sitting with her, talking to her, writing prompts. Like, what is the story what is the story that needs to be told? What is the story that's inside of you? Like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And more and more and more. It's just writing scenes and journal entries. Like, it was From Lap Dance. It was that show.
Yeah.
Like the show, it sounds crazy, but that show wrote itself. It
Yeah.
really did. It wrote itself through my life.
I'm kind of like, for you, Corey, I know you wanted to like bring a lot of that shame out, anger and stuff, but was there any message that you wanted to transmit to the audience?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's been the mission. Cause like what I've also learned after acting for now 20 plus years is that like you have to have, for me, this is my opinion, I'm not speaking for nobody else. That mission, that purpose, that message is what keeps me going. Because just wanting to be on a TV show or a movie, that's not enough. I've been that. I've been there. I've done it. And I felt empty. I felt depressed. I felt angry. I felt unfulfilled. It was until I stopped getting all the auditions. It was until I stopped going in for the series regulars, being, tested, being on a veil. It was until like that got quiet and like life showed me what acting was really about, what acting was for me, why I wanted to be an actor and storyteller so much.
Yeah.
It was until then that I start now that I do feel fulfilled. Like I know now I'm living my mission, my purpose, my message. When going back as a little girl wanting to be an actor, coming from a Mexican American family that doesn't have a lot of money. They don't have, my mom didn't have money to put me in acting classes, but I knew I was going to be an actor. Like I already knew I was an actor. That struggle, that it's like a distance of like, it's part of another world. It isn't. That's the message. It isn't a part of it. If it's what you want and you know it's what you want, it's what you are. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's about staying true to that vision. Even when people tell you, oh, do you know how many independent films never see the light of day? You have no resume. You have no reel. Like, I don't know if you can act. Even when you hear that, it's staying true and holding on to like your truth and knowing what you can do. So for me, like you say, the mission, the purpose, my message is it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter if your family didn't have money to pay for your acting classes. It doesn't matter if your family didn't even believe in you when you were like the only one who was like, but I know I can do this. And everyone's like, yeah, right, Cori. Go to college, get a real job. Stop taking all these workshops. Like, why are you going to these classes to go act out? Like, one of my uncles would laugh and be like, oh, you're going to your acting out class. Like, you're going to go act out. Like, just joking. Like, because there's nobody in my family who's ever done this. And it does seem like so far out of reach. So for me, is the message is what's helped me to stay to continue to act and continue to pursue my dream, because it's difficult. Like, I'm sure there's so much rejection and like there's so many like you think you're onto something and then like will show it like, oh, I'm on a bill for this, like this role could change my life, and then you don't get it. And you can easily think to yourself like, well, who am I kidding? Stop kidding yourself. Go get a real job, go to school, go back to school, go get a trade, go do something, right? It's so easy to do that. So for me with my show is like, here's the proof that like even coming from the dirt, literally my grandparents were migrant workers. They used to pick in the fields spinach, onion, coming from that, like, you too can play. Like, I've always thought about it, like, wanting to be an actor and to get a role. It's like when you're on the playground, when you're a little kid and you're on the playground and like two captains are gonna pick teams. You know what I mean? And you're waiting there like, pick me. And you're waiting and they're like, oh, I'll take this first. I'll take this first. And you're just like, pick me. Like, you can pick yourself.
Yeah.
By writing or creating your own opportunity. And that's why my show has been like my prize, like my baby, my everything, because it's like, it's what I've held on to. Like, it's my proof to myself that like, I can create my own opportunity. If you're not going to cast me, I'm going to cast myself.
Yeah.
I'm still going to create that stage for myself to show the world what I can do. You don't have to. You don't have to give me that. I'm going to give it to myself. It'd be nice. I love getting cast. I love working on different projects, but I don't have to wait for you to pick me. I pick myself.
Yeah.
That's what my show has been. That's the message.
Yeah.
That's my mission. That's my purpose. Even from the strip club, even from the family that I've come from, you know, it hasn't been easy. That's the message. Like, you can still, it's possible. And I haven't given up. Trust, I'm right there too. Like, there's so many things I still want to accomplish, you know?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for that series regular role on a hit show. I'm still waiting to be the lead on a hit series, you know? But that's okay. In the meantime, I'll keep acting. I'm going to still keep doing what I love because I'll create it.
Yeah. And also, I love that it came from a really raw place. You know, like, it's very hard for me. I see, for example, I see so many people creating stuff. Then I'm just like, how do they get those stories? How do they, you know? And then that's why I was like, how did you do it? You know, what happened in there? And all these things that you're saying that, yeah, it's just because it was there. I was just like hiding it, you know, not
putting it on paper.
Yeah. And then it just came alive. It's a story. It's who I am. And that's a lot of purpose, mission, you know. And I'm pretty sure not only for me, but everybody that want to see your show were like, wow. And how did you decide to do the play? Because you made a play. Was it in January or was last year?
It was last year. It was all last year. But it went up for 6 weeks from November to December at Casa 0101 in Boyle Heights. They produced it for me.
How? Okay, tell us about this.
Yeah. So I had always heard about Casa since I moved here. It's a very popular theater in the Latino community. If you haven't heard of it, get to know it. It's like I've told Emmanuel Deliage, who is one of the artistic directors there, and him and Josefina Lopez. If you don't know who Josefina Lopez is, get to know her. She's amazing, badass woman. She wrote Real Women Have Curves, the play.
Okay.
She wrote that play.
Yeah,
that's their theater. They opened up that theater back in
Okay.
2010.
Wow.
Yes. So I had heard about this theater. Like, I would get, like, I was on their email list, and like other actors would tell me about it, or other actors would be in plays there, and I was like, how do I get into this theater? You know, and I told Emmanuel, who was my director producer, like, the theater is such a gorgeous place. Like, to me, it's like the Cadillac of community theaters. Like, it's like the community there, the people there, the talent there, the talent that comes out of there. It's just a beautiful place. Also, another thing that's very like serendipitous to me is that building was the very first building where the Buddhism that I practice, Nichiren Daishonin, that was the first building where they had their headquarters here in the United States. That building. That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to be part of this theater, but I had never done theater. I had only done film and TV. So I was like, I want to do theater. Like, I've always wanted to do theater. I was like, but how do I get into theater? Like, my agents don't submit me to theater. Like, how do I do theater?
Yeah.
So finally, I was like, you know what? I'm going to submit myself. And I had seen an email, casting call for Chicanas, Cholas y Chisme Thriving Series, this festival of short plays directed, written, and put up by women at Casa. And so I auditioned, and I got in. I booked a few roles, and multiple plays for that festival. And I loved it. I was like, this is what acting, of course, is what I've always loved. But theater, to take it even like further, like, I was like, this is what I've been missing. Like, this is what's been missing in my acting life. Like, everything seemed like I'm proud of myself of what I've done. Like, I'm like, this is great. But like, theater I'll say it's the real acting. Theater is the real acting. And so
Wait, I want to know a little bit why you're saying this.
why?
Yeah.
Because you have nothing to hide behind when you're on that stage. There's no cut. There's no reading to a fluorescent tape on the wall. You're acting off someone else, unless you're doing a one-woman show or something. But it's all here. It's all acting off of each other. It's all real. It's all present. It's all right there in the moment. And also with that theater, a lot of the, if not all of, a lot of the writings, the plays that they put up, they came from the actors that go there.
Yeah.
This is like my show. I wrote it. The opportunity that you get at this play, at this theater, that's why I say that. So I auditioned, got in.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's where I met Emmanuel and Josefina in person, even though I knew of them, of course. It's their theater. I met them, and they saw me in the plays and had really nice things to say about my acting and my talent. And I had told Emmanuel that I had done a one-woman show and that I would love for it to be a play with other actors.
Okay.
He read my script and was like, I want to direct and produce this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it happened there.
Did you struggle when you were creating these shows? Like either what kept you going and what was the struggle?
Girl, struggle. Like, talk about the most toughest moments of my life. Because as I'm writing it and planning to put it up, there's also that voice in my head that's like, what are you doing? Why are you putting your business out there like that?
Yeah.
Like, no one cares about your sob story. Like, what are you doing? That's been the hardest part of, like, do I really deserve this? Do I really need a whole theater to back me? Do I really need all this just to tell my story? Is my little story even that important? Do I need, like, who cares? Everyone has a story. What's so special about mine? That's been the hardest part.
How do you overcome that? How kept you going?
Knowing that other people need to hear it.
Yeah.
It's not about me going up there and putting on a performance and look at me like I've always been. It's about knowing that there's someone that needs to hear it.
Yeah. There's a theme that you've mentioned a lot that you say shame. We all are ashamed of something that we hide. And I feel like we need to see, people talking about this shame to be like, and not only like, yes, and it's just like, there's nothing wrong with it. We create this shame based on like so many beliefs and experiences, but is like what makes us artists,
Yeah.
How did you decide to write Situationship?
Journaling, a heartache. Journaling, another heartache, another broken heart.
Was it like the heartache was here in LA?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So Situationship was written from journaling, from heartache. I had met this man, a writer, who started out as a friend who I admired. He's a writer.
Okay.
I won't say who because he's a well-known writer.
Okay.
I don't want to say up and coming, but, and I have nothing bad to, he's amazing. He's a very talented writer. He has his own inspirational story. I looked up to him when I met him. I was like, wow, this guy's doing what I want to do. Like I can learn so much. I'm learning so much from this man. Like, we were friends. We started dating. I fell in love with him. I don't know if he fell in love with me back. But I let him know one day when things were getting pretty heavy, as like we were spending a lot of time together. It was confusing. So I wanted to know. I asked the question that girls are told not to ask. What are we? So I was like, so what's happening here? And he told me, I really love you. This isn't casual. But I'm not ready for commitment. Like, I'm just not there.
So he told you it isn't casual? It isn't. But I'm not ready for a commitment. Okay.
That's the thing. He did that to me for a long time. I think that's part of like a man who's so charming and intelligent. They know how to do that, where you almost question, like, they confuse you, where you're just like left like, oh,
like, do I go or should I stay because you decide to change your mind because you just told me it's not
like, you're showing
casual.
me how much you love me, but you're saying you're not. Like, we did that for like 4 years.
Yeah.
So Situationship is about my relationship. Well, it was about, not my relationship. The Situationship is about the moment where I finally came to him and said, I can't lie to myself anymore. So basically it's about
Can we
that
see
moment.
it somewhere? Sorry.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Oh, perfect. Sorry. I thought it was like.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
So Situationship is that moment in my life where I finally came to him and said, I choose me. and I can't do this anymore.
What is the biggest lesson that it leaves you after doing these projects? Situationship or that you would
Create
say?
my own opportunities for my own life.
The same for all of the three of them?
For the stuff that I wrote?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To keep creating my own opportunities with my own life.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge?
Feeling like it's not important, or the shame of like, it's like you go out and you like show all of this and then you're just like, I spoke too much. Like I shouldn't have said so much.
I think they call it somehow. Like, is it a little bit of anxiety? Like, no?
Yeah.
I think we all have it because, like, did I just, like...
You want to go and hide after you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, every time I do, like, every time I've done a one-woman show, every time I put up my one-woman show, every time, even when I did my play that was with other actors, it's like, afterwards, you just want to, like, run and hide. Like, what did I just expose? Did I say too much? Like, are people going to judge me?
Is there any person that inspires you to keep writing? Do you have a mentor?
Yeah, there's many people who inspire me. I mean, my one-woman show, when I first started writing that, like, even, I didn't even know what a one-woman show was. John Leguizamo, like, who doesn't know who that is?
Yeah.
Who he is. John Leguizamo, my acting coach that I've known and worked with for over 10 years. She inspires me a lot. At this point, she's become a mentor and close friend. I don't know what I would do without her guidance in my life.
Is there a big turning point in your life or in your art? Not necessarily in your life, but like your creations.
The biggest turning point was that I always was so desperate to audition for other people's projects, and then I wrote my play, I wrote my show, and that's been the biggest turning point, is like realizing and seeing that I could create my own opportunity with my own life story.
Is there something that has changed before and after that you would say, Corey, before this project was, how would you describe yourself before creating your own opportunities and now?
Oh, not as bold, not as brave, like tapping into that courage that I have. Like I think we all have courage. It's just about tapping into that, knowing what I'm capable of now, because the weight that has been shed, because I just came out and said it. I don't have to hide that I used to be a stripper anymore. It's out there now.
What would you say to those people before that would tell you, like, that were telling you to hide it? Have you ever talked to them now?
That teacher, that woman?
Or more people?
I wrote a little line for her in my program. She just didn't give me good advice. I think as artists, you're supposed to use your life.
Yeah.
I think that shame, you should, I don't want to say anybody should do anything. For me, it's been the best thing I could do was embracing that shame and looking at that shame, at that fear, and saying like, no more. You're not going to weigh me down anymore. I'm going to work with you. Like I'm in charge here.
Yeah. Do you have a hobby that inspires your work?
I love to dance.
Yeah.
Dancing salsa.
That's true.
I loved dancing salsa. Anything where I can move. Like I love to work out.
Yeah.
So I still work. I still work out. I still lift. And dancing. I try to go social dancing as much as I can. Salsa.
Yeah.
Yeah, dancing salsa, social dancing salsa has been, I love it because I'm a cumbia dancer.
Yeah.
And so when I go to the Sofitel where I go on Wednesdays, even, so the band, I forgot the name of the band, but the lead of the band, his name is Angelo. He's Leah Remini's husband. I don't know if you know who Leah Remini is. She's on King of Queens. So when I'm in there, apparently when I dance salsa, a lot of cumbia comes out in my salsa.
Okay.
So they're always asking me if I'm Colombian because they're like, you're dancing like a cumbia, like salsa, like a fusion hybrid. Like, it's like you're mixing it all together. And I'll be on the dance floor and he'll be like, cumbia. And I'll be like, no. So my cumbia comes out because that was the very first dance that I ever danced as a little girl.
Yeah. How you describe cumbia?
How do I describe it?
How would you describe it?
Joy.
In the movement? It's just because sometimes it's hard to differentiate. Is that
Yeah. Cumbia and salsa is different.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But for people who don't know what the difference is, I mean, you can tell. We can tell because we grew up listening to it. But people are like, how do you dance cumbia and how do you dance salsa? But in one word, you say joy. Cumbia.
Yeah, because I love to dance. Cumbia. Yeah. That's my childhood. That's family. Salsa is just more... Salsa is more like this way. Cumbia is like more like this way.
Like... Yeah. I love that. Yes. No, it is true. It is true. We've always said that we're going to go dance and it never happens, but we have to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm still down.
Do you have a favorite movie?
Urban Cowboy. John Travolta.
Nice.
Deborah Winger.
Why?
Okay, I have two favorite. Well, there's three of them, but like it's hard. So there's two. It's Urban Cowboy and The Karate Kid.
Okay. For the first one? Mm-hmm. For sure. What is a unique thing about you that people don't know?
That's so funny you asked that. I'm really good with babies.
Really?
Yeah, with crying babies. Like, give me, like, yeah. Growing up, being the oldest of 3 girls and being the oldest of 16 grandchildren, I'm really comfortable with babies.
Yeah.
I love babies. I don't have any yet. But yeah, I've been asked that before. Like, what's a skill like that's no one would know about you? Like, what's a special skill? Like, just a random, like, I'm good with babies.
How many, you say 16
Grandchildren.
and you've like, ¿cómo se dice? Los has desarrollado todos juntos? She has a skill.
Yeah, from like
Ladies
little,
and
like 8 or
gentlemen.
9 years old, because it was before I moved to Texas. Remember, I moved to Texas when I was 10. I was already taking care of my little cousins. So I was 8, 9 years old, and I knew how to make the bottle, wake up in the middle of the night, change the diaper, put them back to sleep, bathe them. Yeah, I had an aunt who left one of my cousins with me overnight once. Yeah.
Wow. Where would you take someone to Austin? Like I've never been to Austin. Where would you take me? Like,
Where would I take you?
yeah.
I really like Mount Bunnell. I like hikes. I like beautiful views. I like peaceful outdoor type. I'm sure there's so much there's so much more now. It's grown so much, but I really loved going up Mount Bunnell and just the view there.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Do you have any new project going on that you're working on?
Yes, I'm writing my feature now, so my play is going to be a movie.
Yay! Mm-hmm. You're on fire. No, yeah, that's what we're supposed to be.
Thank you.
Okay, so where can people see your work? Situationship is on YouTube. What's your YouTube channel?
I don't have a YouTube channel.
So I just go write Situationship.
Yeah, maybe I should create one with all my work. But about that, I've been a little, what's the word, like reluctant. Like I'm not sure yet if I want to post my one-woman show in my play yet. Maybe.
Why? Like,
because then why are people gonna come see it if they can watch it on
right?
YouTube?
Yeah.
No, you gotta come see it. It's in person.
Yeah, of course. What is the thing that excites you the most besides dancing?
Like acting related?
No, could
Art
be anything.
Excites me the most?
Sleeping? No, I mean for me it would be resting.
Yeah, resting, eating really good food with someone I love.
Oh my god,
chilling.
yes.
I'm a homebody.
Okay.
So growing up, I was a wild one. I mean, I was known in Austin.
Like
I was
parties.
known as a party girl. I don't regret it. I had a great upbringing in Austin. Like my teenage years into my 20s. Woo, girl, 6th Street was my second home. So I partied a lot, and I still like to party. I love to go out and dance and stuff. But I'm not like a heavy drinker and drug user the way I used to be. Straight up. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm a homebody, so I love like staying in somewhere cozy, relaxing, like someone cooking like really good food, some wine. I really love red wine. A movie or a good show.
Yeah. Do you have pets?
Not right now. I've always had pets. My last dog died, Nico. No. He passed away April 2020, and I'm still like I'm open to it. I really believe like the next little dog I'm supposed to have will come into my life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you would like to talk about? Like a question that you like to be asked, something that you like to mention, a statement, a strong statement, anything that I might have missed?
A strong statement?
Yeah.
I tell myself a lot. Like just this morning, it's crazy. I was in the shower, and I was like, the last 2 auditions I went out for, I haven't heard anything back. But I'll never give up. I will never give up. And I know what I want. Like I told you, I want my own show. And I want to write it. I'm writing a movie now. I'm writing my feature. I'm in the process of doing that. I've always wanted to be the lead of a hit series, and it can be drama or sitcom. If not one of the regulars, I want to be part of a strong cast like that, where I know I can learn and work amongst other great, actors, artists. And when it gets slow, as it is right now, it's slow for me right now. That's why when you asked me to do this podcast about like killing it, I'm like, okay. But I was like, no, because I think that's one of my worst habits is I forget how far I've come.
Yeah.
I forget how much I've done, how much I've accomplished, because I feel like having what I believe this imposter syndrome that I battle with, it's never enough. And it doesn't matter. I was at Sundance. I wrote and was the lead of this play, and I still was like, it's not enough. I'm not good enough. Like, should I even really be here? Like, do I really deserve this?
Mm-hmm.
So a strong statement for me is what I tell myself a lot. Like, all this work has not been for nothing. It's not deep in my heart and my soul and my bones for nothing. And as long as I stay true to my vision, as what I see is my show, my movie, that's all that matters. Like, God didn't place this desire in my heart, this talent for nothing.
Yeah.
It's happening. I stopped saying it's gonna happen for me. It's happening. This is part of it. It's happening. It's happening. It's all happening. It's all happening.
It's so hard to find your mission. I'm not saying your mission, but like people's mission, you know? Because sometimes when you like, I say this because, you know, it's happened to me that when you start doing something, you have something in mind. And when you start doing it, then you realize so many things happen. It's not the way you imagined. And then it changes. And then you go like, you know? And then you have to really dig in to see why you're here, why you're doing what you're doing. But the mission is there. You just got to find it. So, yeah. The thing that you're saying is like, I think it's very helpful for people to know why they decide to take this path, you know. Do you have any other message that you like to say to like people who would like to be actors, writers, producers, directors, whatever? What would you say to them?
To not give up. I mean, I haven't.
Yeah.
And my journey has taken so many like detours and like unexpected paths that I was like, I mean, if you would have told me that I was going to be writing, if you would have told me that I was going to become a playwright, I would have been like, I didn't know. I just knew to keep putting one foot in front of the other and staying true to myself and to my vision and to my desire and my passion and my love for the craft, the acting, the writing, the dancing. I just putting one foot in front of the other. Like, just don't give up.
Don't give up.
I mean, and I even have to tell myself that. Like, I even tell myself that, like, oh, you know, so much time has passed. I'm getting older, you know, and I'm just like, fuck that. I'm not dead. Who said I had who's putting an expiration date on me? I'm doing that to myself? No, fuck that. I got a lot to do. I'm just getting started. I am not dead.
Yeah.
Straight up. I mean, that might sound a little heavy, but I'm not dead. I'll never stop.
Yeah. And what are your socials?
Oh,
Corina Calderon.
I don't really use a lot of social media.
Okay.
I feel like it can become a distraction, and I feel like it can become a lot of like, oh, what are they doing? And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've done it. I've tested myself. I've stayed off for like a month, went back on, and it's like until I stayed off for about a month and went back on, I realized how silly it was. Yeah. You get so wrapped up. Like, you're just like, oh. I don't have Twitter. I use Instagram.
Okay.
But it's been very beneficial because I've sold a lot of tickets. I've been able to promote. People know about my show.
See, that's why we need to know.
That's how I know
socials.
you. That's how I'm here today.
Well,
Instagram.
actually, we met in an acting class.
Yeah, but we've kept in touch on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yeah, over how many years now?
Yeah.
It's been a long, like what, 6-7 years?
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah, Instagram. It's Hola It's Cori. Hola _it's _Cori. CORI. Hola It's Cori.
Yeah. Follow her because that way you'll see what she's up to, what she's doing, her next show. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you for inviting me. This is nice.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I just wanted to say, dude, I always say this, like, you're ballsy, but it requires more than being ballsy. You know, it requires to believe in yourself. It requires to believe in the story you have behind. It requires a lot of things.
Balls.
Yeah, and it's just, for me, you're an inspiration. Ovaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Keep going, girl. Keep going.
Oh, I am. I can't give up. I haven't come this far to just come this far.
Yeah. True. We're not dead, and there's a lot of stories to tell. We have so many messages.
There's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah. And it's so much fun. I mean, yeah, because you're like, in that show, I was cracking up. You were playing all these characters and like all these jokes. And I was like, wow.